All right. Whoa, what happened? Morris and Son Custom Baits. What's going on? What's up, Tom? Bass Guy, Gary. Yeah, well, wait. Let everybody jump in here. It takes a few minutes to get everybody going here. Still showing 0 on the counter here, so we'll figure it out here shortly. Gabe will be in just a second. I seen Mike Marfell was in here early. Mr. White Whale, what's up, man? Been catching some chunks over there in Indiana. Ogie Outdoor, what's going on, man? Haven't seen you much here lately. Larry Lee, how's it going? Guys, as soon as Gabe gets going in here, we'll get going on with the show. We do have a guest tonight. It's a really good one, too. So I'm sure most of you guys have already seen it on social media and everything. Gabe and I have been blowing it up pretty much all day long on there. So we'll get him in here in just a few minutes. He should be a pretty good one on here. Yep, on Monday evenings.
All right.
What's up, folks?
Rolling, huh?
Wadded Fishing. Who's that guy?
Who's that guy? Never heard of him.
I think he used to have a YouTube channel at one time.
Yeah. Didn't you wash vehicles or something too?
Yeah.
Or is that what he's doing?
Yeah. He worked with
TJ, didn't he?
Yeah, he works with Tackle Junkie and a little bit here and there. Big FedEx guy.
We got Stan on here. Stan's a first timer. Hey. First time listener, first time caller. Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah. What's up, Stan? Fishing with Fitz. How's it going, man?
Fishing with Fitz. Yeah, he's got a 200 subscriber giveaway. So if you guys haven't checked out his channel, go have a look at it.
Yep. That's if I'm not mistaken, Bubbleville Bassam's brother.
That's right. That's right. David's in here.
What's up, David?
What's up, David?
So hopefully everybody had a good weekend.
Okie Outdoors. You see the fish that Okie Outdoor caught?
Oh yeah. I've seen it.
It was like maybe smaller than that.
Yeah, you're giving him a little bit on that.
That was kind of impressive, actually. I mean, that's like a once in a lifetime catch.
That's like splitting an arrow in two.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt.
It's pretty impressive.
He threw it back too, and it swam off.
Really? I was going to say,
I highly doubt it.
I was going to say it was speared to the gut.
It's sunk off if it did anything.
We probably got eaten.
We got Isaac in here from Cumberland Pro. What's up, Isaac? Good to see you on here.
Yep. And just to let you guys know, on both of our channels, if you go to the live stream, I took the time today. We actually have all the Cumberland Pro lures linked down below for each one. There's a description on every single one of them. With a link, you can just go and click the link. It'll take you right to it. So help you guys out there a little bit.
So speaking of Cumberland Pro, did you do any fishing this weekend?
I did do a little fishing this weekend.
Good deal.
Got a video coming out, not this Friday, but the Friday after, which you guys will see. Had about a 6-pounder dump me right at the boat. So that was always nice. But
well, at least you got to see it.
Yeah, I got to see it. It jumped. You guys will see it on camera. So it was a pretty good shot. But
yeah, it's a heartbreaker, man.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain after catching 3 7s this year. So,
well, I went to Kincaid Sunday for a little while. And I can't remember who I was talking to about swinging fish. I think it was Gary Maynard. He may be on here later.
Yeah, he was on here.
Okay, but we were talking about, he just broke a Veritas rod trying to swing a fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost broke my rod Sunday. I had a little bit lighter rod than a lot of my rods with the same rods, are just different action. I forgot which one I had, and I was throwing one of the Cumberland Pro finesse football jigs, and I had one about 5 pounds coming up to the boat. I tried to swing it, and I just smacked him into the side of the boat because I didn't have enough butt, you know.
You know, that's funny you say that because this Friday's video has that exact same scene.
God, I got lucky. It didn't come off. I mean, it hit the side of the boat and it fell back in, and I had to basically hand line it and swing it in the boat. And
it's very easy to underestimate a fish coming up to the water. You think, when they're swimming towards you just a little bit and not really fighting hard, you go to swing them, and all of a sudden this head comes up, and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, I was fishing a point out deep, and so I made a pretty long cast out there, and I caught him about 3/4 of the way back. Is when I set the hook.
Yep.
So he was coming, he jumped. I knew it was a decent fish, but how it gets right by the boat, things happen really quick. And he was kind of coming, he was swimming towards me under the water, and I was just trying to use his momentum.
Yep.
And it's a medium heavy rod, but it's a kind of almost got like a moderate action, And
So
it
got a lot of
it just didn't get him up in the boat, man. It just petered
sucks.
out, man. I'm like, dang. So I was lucky to get that fish.
See, Michael's in here. He says he's got a cool handle to be part of this group.
Heck yeah, man. What's up, Mikey Mike? We're getting ready to go on an expedition, man.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
I'm ready to get out of.
Yeah, that's going to be a good time. Real good time.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We got Zach on here. What's up, Zach?
So
Zach helped me out on that little Fredericktown City Lake video I did.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he actually took some pictures of the lake before I was going to make that trip after work. And because I was thinking that was like a week ago, I guess, or a week and a half ago, and we'd been getting a bunch of rain. I figured it would be totally chocolate. So he was nice enough to drive by there on his lunch break or something and
that's awesome.
Take a few pictures.
Yeah. It's always nice to have somebody in there to do that for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Mike's got his 2-ounce tungsten. Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I got some on the way, Mike. They're supposed to be here hopefully this week.
Where do you guys? Wait a minute. Where are you going?
We're going down to Pickwick.
Oh, Pickwick.
Yeah.
Oh, well, for some reason I was thinking you guys were going to Ozarks.
No, we decided not to do. We did have the Ozark and Truman BFLs back to back,
Right.
and we decided to not do those. And we're going to go to Pickwick, and then when we come back the following week, we're going to do those.
You really are going to be punching then.
Yeah, punching.
Okay,
and,
I got you.
Punching, and
That's awesome.
I don't know what all we're going to do. We're going to go down there.
Well,
and we got 2 days to figure out what's
Yeah,
going to happen.
I'm sure you hate to hear that.
It'd be fun. That lake apparently has been fishing really, really good this year. I've talked to a couple people that it's on fire down there.
Tom, just to let you know, if you go up to the top, you should be able to push that comment thing and it'll say all comments or top comments. Make sure you put that on. It's either all or live comments. I've had that happen before too, and it'll filter a bunch of them out.
See, we got Hank Snow in here. We got
See
Jay
Morrison
Passon.
Son Custom Baits.
Morrison Son, awesome, man.
Fishing with Fitz. 2-ounce question. Hey, hats. No, wait.
2-ounce hay hats.
Chainmail spike.
Chainmail spike. I don't know what he's saying on that. Let Toyota pay for us and give Duckett's. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the 2-ounce thing is. Anyway, that's a big.
Toyota pay for us and not give Duckett. Not give my Duckets. So is Mike a Duckett fan?
I don't think he's a Duckett fan. I think Mike's a Lewis fan. He's the reason I have so much Lewis product.
Well, that's
he got me
kind of what I
started on
wondered. I
Lewis
was
stuff
like,
a long time ago.
I was going to say.
Got a roller cycle in the house. Vroom, vroom. So,
all right, you ready to get Mr. Trey on
let's
here?
get Mr. Trey in here, man. I'm excited. We got some questions to ask him, and
let
it's
it,
gonna be a good
guys.
show.
Yeah, let us know if you get any reverb or echo on this. So we're gonna try without headphones here. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys?
Oh,
Not much, man. Just kind of settling in. Guys, before we get started out there in YouTube land, this is your opportunity to ask this gentleman all the questions you got about reels, about custom bait. That stuff has just been kind of scratching the back of your brain for a little while. He's this is what he does. So he's the guy that knows this stuff. So, Mike says Duckett owns
now I
FLW
get what he's
MLF.
saying. I got what he's saying.
Yeah,
He's talking about Boyd Duckett. Okay.
Yeah. So what's going on, Trey, man? How are you?
pretty good, man, guys. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. So I got to start out by, I saw your Facebook post that you did the other day where you got I guess it was from Tackle Warehouse. You got some new baits from Tackle Warehouse. Did you have a chance to go out and try any of that stuff over the weekend, or?
Yeah, so I threw that new 6 Cents Vega Frog. I threw the new Duorealis Apex 66 Square Bill. I threw the new Fighter Jig. I don't know what it's called. I don't know. The Cage Fighter or something.
Yeah, Cage Fighter.
And then I threw some other stuff, like some X-Zone lures, like the 12-inch worm or 11-inch worm. Just checking those out just because I've heard good things about them.
Did you throw the little fuzzy tail frog?
Yeah, well, I've thrown those depths for like 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Awesome frogs. I mean, that thing is super soft. It walks easy. It's got like a small like rabbit tail on the back. I use that actually up north in Wisconsin for head-to-head. So,
Okay.
awesome frog.
So what'd you think about the 6-inch frogs?
It's
Okay.
it's a nice frog.
Okay.
So it's $13. I think that price point is a little high for where they're made. I mean, it's a made in China frog. You can get jackals, you can get like the gavachos and the caras and all that stuff from Japan for $9.99. So you're getting a pretty quality frog for less money. It skips well. It bombs. I mean, you can bomb the cast. I mean, it casts really well. If you're ever throwing like a jackal gavacho, it's that same weight. It's that same size. It's like the 5/8 of an ounce. It's kind of like a walking bait, like a spook style.
Right.
It spits okay. I threw around a lot of grass, a lot of lily pads. I didn't really have issues on the grass, but I had issues on the pads. If you cast it out and it rolled over just a little bit, if you look at the design of the hooks, they're pointed, they're bent out or bent to the top. So it caught the lily pads more than my buddy's Mega Bass Pony Gabbit. So it is what it is. The hookup ratio was pretty good, so it wasn't too bad.
Now, that's the frog you brought up here last time?
No, I was just getting ready to mention that. I bought some of the snag-proof launch frogs.
Yeah.
I was watching Mikey Ball's video, and JT Kenny's an excellent frog salesman. So as soon as I got done watching that video, I ordered 4 of those suckers, and they're really nice. They're really, really soft, but they got that same kind of hook, that hook that's turned upward, and it sticks up just a little bit above the body. And so when you're making that cast right before it starts to land, you kind of got to thumb your spool and
just tap it over
your belly, or you're just catch grass, all day long. But those are pretty sweet frogs. I had one blow up on it the other day, so I haven't actually got to get into like some heavy duty, frog topwater situations with that to see how the hookup ratio is. But you can just tell by the way that hook's set up and how soft the body is that it's not going to be a problem. And the skirt is really, really long on it, so you have to trim that sucker down. And I kind of like to feather the sides of it to help it walk because it's got too much skirt material. It's just kind of real stiff, but pretty good frog, I think.
Yeah, I looked at those and I just didn't add them to my cart. So my next tackle warehouse order, I'm sure I'll order them. I just like going through frogs. I've got my 5 top frogs that are definitely some of the best frogs in the market. That Vega frog from 6 Cents is nice. I mean, I'm going to keep throwing it just to see how it holds up. I've tried some other frogs that 2 or 3 fish and the weights pop out or bait rips and the hooks are terrible. So it's a pretty good frog right now.
So what are your top 5 frogs?
It's going to be the Depth Slither K, the Gavacho, the Jackal Cara, discontinued 2nd generation True Tungsten frogs, and I can't think of my 5th one.
Spro?
No, I don't actually throw spros at all.
Okay.
They sink like a rock. I'm not a fan.
Mm-hmm.
They're smaller, but I mean, if I'm going to throw that smaller frog, it's going to be the Jackal Cara, and it's going to be that Depth Slither K.
So I just bought some gavachos last fall.
Mm-hmm.
How's the hookup on those?
The hookup's great on those. I mean, it still has that upward pointing hooks, but they buried them just slightly below the plastic, and their plastic's pretty soft. Like the Vega, I would say it's kind of like a medium range plastic. Like Depths is really soft, and then you've got like the Guggen frog, which is like thick rubber. So it's kind of that mid grade.
Okay. Because I know that frog, that gavacho, it casts really well and it walks. It's probably one of the best walking frogs that I've ever had on my
Yeah, it's awesome. That bait is phenomenal, and for $10, it's a great frog, and you can get them for a little bit cheaper than that. The hooks are really sharp. It walks. It spits well. The hookup ratio has been great on it. So,
yeah, that's good to know. Because I haven't. I kind of got it late in the season, and I did cast it around a little bit enough to know that. It's a total beginner's frog. I mean, as far as if you want to buy a frog and you don't know how to walk the dog, that frog pretty much itself.
Yeah, I mean, if you want like the finesse frog, get that Jackal Cara. Awesome. That's an awesome frog.
Okay.
It walks extremely well. It's got the belly weight centered in the belly, so it pivots around the weight instead of like butt weighted.
Mm-hmm.
It walks really well as well.
So are you straightforward, pretty much black and black and white frog, or do you got some kind of interesting colors that you lean towards?
Black and white.
Yep.
Pretty simple. I mean, black, white, or a bluegill color maybe. If it's really clear water, maybe a ghost color, but typical black and white.
Yeah, same here. Every once in a while, I'll throw in like an orange or a yellow, that real bluegill color.
Right.
But
yeah, I'm pretty straightforward. Green pumpkin on worms and plastics.
Yeah.
We got a couple comments coming through. I'll put them up on the screen for you so you can read them here a little bit. We got a couple questions coming through there.
Wake baits. I've been throwing the wake bait pretty much since spring to summer, pretty much post or pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn, summer. Just transitioned the bait colors from like shads to bluegills to going into clear water, and then going into the fall, it's gonna be shad bites. So I've got a wake bait tied on right now that I threw yesterday.
Okay. So do you have any videos available to see the action of that bait?
Yeah, so if you link it down in my YouTube channel.
Yep. I got it. It's linked down below. So if you guys want to check out his stuff.
I've got a bunch of videos there. I've got like a video from Kentucky Lake where I caught a bunch of fish when I was doing like the final testing of it.
Okay. So what kind of gear do you recommend for throwing your wake bait? Rod, reel, line, that kind of stuff?
6-3 to 1. It's typically like my spinnerbait or square bill setup. So you can throw like a medium heavy rod, 7 foot. You can either throw it on 15-pound, 20-pound fluorocarbon, or you can throw it on 30-pound braid. Either one. It just depends on what you prefer.
Okay, I like that braid idea. It's nice when you got that, when you're way out there on a cast and you got that braid, that no stretch, you can get a hook in that fish. Yeah,
and if you use braid, you can kind of get away with a softer rod, like your square bill crankbait rod. Like I've thrown it on my 7 foot like E-glass rod from Dobbins. So with that braid, it allows you to have a little more parabolic on the rod.
Mm-hmm.
You don't rip the hooks out.
That's right. So you got another question for him before I get into something else?
I just want to catch up with the comments here a little bit before we get too far ahead here.
Okay.
This is kind of jumping in right to the reels with the Boco bearings here.
Are they universal? No, they are not. Not really. So Revos are going to use 3 spool bearings, and the Tattoo is going to use 2. They're both kind of hard to install if you've never really broken the reel down. The Revos, you're going to need a special tool to pop the bearing off the spool, and then the Tattools, you got to actually crack the entire reel open to get to the bearing. So
that's good.
For me, it's really easy. I can do it in like 5 minutes, but if you haven't done it,
right.
They can lose parts. I mean, there's a lot of springs in there, and a bunch of small parts that people don't like to mess with.
How long you been cleaning reels and stuff?
What is it? 2020. I've probably been doing it since 2005.
Okay.
Or so. I've been doing it full time for 7 years.
Now, is there a certain reel that when you get it, you're like, oh man, I don't like this reel. I don't even want to dive into this thing. Or are they all pretty similar?
All bait casters are really pretty similar. With like your Lew's, Abu's, 13 Fishing, even some of them like $160 Cast Kings now, they're all made in the same factory. So internally, they're roughly the same reel. And they just use like swap out parts and everything.
Okay.
But they're all, bait casters I have no issues with. Spinning reels, I don't even like to touch them.
Yeah. I had a Stratic one time that I broke it down, and man, I guess I put something in backwards and it was never the same. And I had to send it up to Canada to have it repaired, and I got it back and it's up.
Yeah. Spinning reels are god awful to work on. They're horrible. That's why I don't own any. So.
Right. Well, you throw a shaky head, right? You got to have a spinning rod.
I do. I throw a shaky head on bait casting setups. I've got bait casting setups where I can throw down to a 16th or 32nd of an ounce. So I don't really see the need for a spinning reel.
Right. I understand. They do get in the way on the deck of the boat too.
I like that.
Yeah. they're great for like using them for chalks for your boat if you need to go.
To a straight up power fisherman.
Yep, that's good.
A finesse power fisherman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got one more question before we get on with our stuff here. Johnny B was asking.
What's the best condition to throw the wake bait? Oh man, pretty much anytime you want to throw like a square bill or a spinner bait, I would say. Yesterday was, I guess, partly cloudy, so I was throwing a little bit brighter one. I was throwing my GFK shad. It's got a bunch of chartreuse. It's kind of a ghost color shad to it, but I was cranking that along weed edges and laydowns, and just catching fish up shallow. For some reason, the fish were really shallow. So, and they weren't just shallow where we were fishing. They were fishing shallow at Truman Lake. A bunch of guys were fishing a big tournament down there, and they were catching them in like 8 or 10 inches of water.
Wow.
Which is kind of weird when it's 85-degree water. So,
yeah, that and speaking of the water temperature, what is when do you start going to that wake bait? Say in the spring, and then when does it disappear in the fall?
I would say from like 60 degrees, 58, 60 degrees in the spring, and then all the way through until 60 degrees, 58 degrees in the fall. 55. I mean, it's pretty much like a 2.5 square bill. You know, same kind of action to it. It's a little bit wider, so.
Yeah, I haven't thrown a wake bait a whole lot, honestly. I've thrown a lot of the baby 1-minuses.
Yeah.
You remember those? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're loud.
Yeah, they work, man. And you talk about getting in skinny water. They just barely get underneath the water.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is, you know, if you're fishing a couple inches of water, they're great. I mean, you know, the nice thing about the wake bait is you can crank it down to like 2 or 3 feet and then twitch it and pause it under the water, or you can just run it on top of the water and, you know, watch the fish destroy it. So
I bet that's a fun bite.
yeah. Yeah, especially when the water cools down. Like right now, these fish are just, I mean, they're still in summer pattern. They're going to be summer pattern for another 4 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Actually, talking about that the other day, my local lake, it's already they're starting to move back to shallows.
Are they?
So
that's good. I'm hoping with this rain that we're getting and this cool front coming in the next 10 days, it looks like, I'm hoping this water starts dropping into the 70s because, man.
Yep. It's tough, isn't it?
It's been hot and fishing's been pretty crappy. So it's just been slow. You know, I'm waiting for these fish to start feeding up. They're pretty small still or thin. So
yeah. There was a question on here. Oh, Fulham Basson here. He was asking about his 13 fishing constant Z.
Yeah, you can oil them. I think that's the one with the bushings. So yeah, you can just drop a little bit of oil on them. It's essentially like a polymer bushing instead of using bearings. I've actually swapped out those bushings for Boca bearings for guys. So oil doesn't hurt. Just do like 1 drop and that's it. Guys tend to over oil and grease their stuff, and it's highly annoying.
What kind of oil do you recommend for someone that's just going to do some at-home maintenance, light stuff?
This, I don't know if you can see it. This is the Lucas oil.
Okay.
Good stuff. I also have this stuff typically in stock. This is Boca's oil. This is a little bit thinner oil than the Lucas oil. They're both synthetic oils. And then grease-wise, I go Daiwa Space Age Blue Grease, if you can find it, because I buy it all up. It comes from Japan, so when they're sold out, it takes forever to get back in the States.
Yeah, that's like the baby brush hogs here at the local academy. Every time I go in there, I buy everyone they have, especially right now with the pandemic.
Or the Berkeley flatworms right now that you can't buy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You ever use any of the Batman oil? Batman?
Which one?
From Shimano?
I've got some, I think. I just haven't used it in a while.
Yeah, I'll say, do you think there's any advantage to it or anything? Because I know Shimano's pretty proud of it. So
yeah, I mean, it's probably another synthetic oil. Another oil that I use for my bearings is ZPI's oil. This is pretty expensive. This is $20 for. I mean, it'll last me a while, but I go through a ton. It supposedly has micro diamonds and stuff in it, so it fills in like blemishes and metal.
Oh,
It's awesome oil. It is awesome oil, but it's pretty expensive.
yeah. That's interesting. I bet there's all kinds of stuff out there you can put in your reels. It's good that you've been through them and kind of tested them all.
Yeah, I've gone through a lot of stuff like hot sauces and real butters and all that stuff, but
it's actually pretty good.
I found what works.
So that's a pretty good question. We've had this question on here a couple times before.
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
That is usually due to the anti-reverse bearing, which is housed with the main drive shaft. So your handle shaft goes through the anti-reverse bearing. And so if it's too cold, that anti-reverse bearing is typically over-oiled. So that oil is freezing, and it's allowing the handle to spin backwards. What you want to do is you want to take that reel side plate off, and you'll want to take like a Q-tip and wipe the AR bearing so it is completely dry.
Okay.
But that's typically why they go backwards in the cold.
We've had that question a couple times. I didn't know what the deal was with it.
Yep.
I don't know if I've ever had mine do it, but
I mean, the simple answer would have been just go buy a Daiwa or Shimano, but
man, I've had that happen. You know, when it's jerkbait season, you got those tournaments where it's like 8 degrees in the morning. That's
the AR bearing. It slips. There's nothing for it to grab on. The collar for it to grab on, so it'll just backwards in until it catches on one of those bearings.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
It is. It sucks because your spool either blow up or you'll lose fish.
Yep, I've gotten to where I put my thumb on my spool, you know, because I know it's going to happen eventually.
Yep.
Got any more questions there for him?
Let me see. Let me catch up a little bit here. Tackle Junkie's in the house. What's up, man?
Old Jim.
Yeah, he was talking quite a bit about the shad a while ago. I've seen, and I was telling Gabe the other day, we got so many bait fish in my local lake here, and like I said, my fish are actually there's a bunch of them moving up.
Really?
I'm still finding them out deep too, though.
Yeah. I mean, the fish will be deep, shallow all year round. So
right. This was actually a pretty good one Stephanie had. When is the black and blue colors to use? Season, can I get them to bite? I can't get them to bite this summer that color.
I think black and blue is the number one jig color in the country.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I would say I've thrown more black and blue this year than I have probably the last 3 years combined.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like anything. I mean, it looks, like if we go up north, it looks like mayflies and stuff up there. Like there's willow cats that are pretty small. They're black. But yeah, black and blue is like across the board, probably the number one jig color.
I think it looks like those, like a goggle eye, the real dark sunfish.
Yep.
They got that real dark top to them.
Yeah.
That's my theory on it. I don't know, but I think it's also just something that contrasts with the bottom. They can see it a little better, especially down there deeper.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't lose the color, like supposedly like red line will disappear in 20 feet of water because it's a refraction light and all that kind of stuff. Black is pretty much black at the top and black all the way down at the bottom. So
right.
I think one of the number one reasons I've been throwing it so much this year was we've had such a hot summer.
We have. With
hardly any rain. And you've seen a lot of places that have that real green tint water, that real dark brown water. And that's typically why I've been throwing so much this year.
It seems like we've had some horrible algae blooms and just some nasty grass blooms and that I call it witch's hair. It kind of grows on the rock. We pulled up a bunch yesterday, dredging it like 18 foot of water. It's been pretty thick this year.
Yeah, my local lake's got it. I was telling Gabe, we fished it with last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year we fished it, and it had on one bank it had that witch's hair. And this year,
horrible.
Yeah, this year it's on about 80% of the banks.
Yeah.
And that stuff stinks. Holy cow.
Yeah, it smells like sulfur.
Yeah.
It's bad. We ran into it yesterday, and it was horrible. I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and you're like, God, man, this is awful.
Yeah.
You think it's your partner, but can't blame him for everything, I guess.
Yeah, you can't get it off your bait either. Like if you're fishing some milfoil or coontail, you can snap it and it comes off, but you think
it's like Velcro and it just sticks to everything.
It just ruins it. It's nasty.
Yeah, I did find out if you let it dry on the side of your boat on the ride home, it's like a frosted flake trying to get off there.
Yeah. It's like a big booger, crusty booger.
Oh, it is nasty.
Yeah, it's like concrete.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question. I was talking to Mike the other day, and he mentioned something about you you were involved in the one-on-one tournament up north. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that? That's a new one for me. So
it's called head-to-head fishing. It is out of Wisconsin right now. It is the guys that own the Real Shot Tackle Shop up in Appleton, Wisconsin. massive tackle shop. It's huge. So they started like this pool tournament trail, and I fished up in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I've never been there. It was pool 7, 8, and 9, and there's 16 guys, and you get paired with, like me versus you, and 8 guys fish Monday and 8 guys fish Tuesday, and the winners advance to the next day on Wednesday. So I've never been there. I pre-fished. I had a buddy help me pre-fish, and we pre-fished for probably 7 days, 8 days, because it is nothing like the Mississippi down here where you have like 4 creeks and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's thousands of miles of islands and cuts and places to fish. It's incredible. It's beautiful up there. But, it's that one-on-one format to where you're catching as many 2-pounders as you possibly can, kind of like that MLF format.
Okay.
Every guy had a camera guy in the boat for 5 hours. So you would have your 5 hours of a camera guy and, promote yourself and do pretty much hopefully catch fish so you can advance to the next day. So I pre-fished, and it was horrible. The water was really low. We got stuck a few times. Thank God we didn't have to get an airboat to pay $2,500 to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. So I wasn't expecting anything. All these guys that fished it are local sticks. I mean, Cade's a beast up there. He's won multiple BFLs up there. Kevin Hurlitsky, all these guys they've done really well up there. Jeremiah Shaver. So I was just going in kind of just like, man, this is going to be cool. Great experience. Beautiful area, just new place to fish. Ended up winning day 1 with 1 keeper for 2 pounds even. And I caught that with 8 minutes before we had to go into Dinkfest. So I luckily got that one on a jig, and then moved on to day 3, 4, and day 5, and took 2nd place.
Wow. That's awesome.
It was awesome. I beat Cade, which was like that was like the gauntlet right there. It was like slaying the dragon.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, the whole format was incredible. I mean, you only had 5 hours to fish, and having that pressure of knowing your competitor, what he's catching or what he's not catching. The camera guy kind of giving you details on if he's breaking down or if he's over here, kind of thing. So you kind of have an idea what's going on. So you're always, that pressure's always on you the whole time. Completely different than going in and weighing fish and like, oh, this is what I got, and that's it. So it was awesome. I'm definitely doing it again. So it was fun.
So did you guys, the guy you were fishing against, did you guys both take off? Did everybody take off from the same marina, or were you able to go to your spots and then as say you started at 7 o'clock, as soon as it's 7 o'clock, was it lines in? Was it like that, or how was it?
So you could put in anywhere you wanted on pool 7, 8, or 9.
Okay.
So that's why we were up there so long, because I've never fished any of it. So we pre-fished pool 7, 8, and 9, trying to get an idea of what pool should I stay in, because you could lock through, but that's going to cut into your time of 5 hours goes by really quick. You guys are used to 8 hours. You cut 3 hours off in your day. I mean, it's gone. So you can put in wherever you want. We would get to my spot, and I'd have like 45 or 50 minutes before we could do lines in. So you're just sitting there waiting for them to say lines in, which is killer. I mean, it was horrible. You're like, what are you going to do for an hour? You're sitting on your boat. You're already rigged up, so you're just waiting. And then once you have that line in at 7 o'clock, then you're done at 2. So it's pretty cool. So
well, I fish you're talking about how fast 5 hours goes by, and I fished a lot of the Wednesday night tournaments here locally, and they're 4-hour tournament. And you're exactly right. It's
gone.
It goes by so quick, and if your first spot doesn't pan out and you got to make adjustments, you seem like, you can get behind really quick, and you can be just you can get spun out if things aren't going well. And next thing you know, you got an hour left and you're not where you needed to be. And
right.
It goes by super, super quick. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was tough. It was really tough. The fishing was horrible. I mean, horrible. I'm used to catching fish, but I'm doing this for 8 days and then having a day off, watching them not catch fish, and then go out and catch one single keeper on the first day to advance to day 2, and then catch 2 on day 2. I mean, it was terrible. I mean,
so that one keeper was
enough to go advance to the next day.
I thought you meant you advanced off of one keeper, like you were one keeper above the other guy. So between the 2 guys, there was only one keeper caught?
Yeah, so he zeroed, and I had 1 2-pounder, exactly 2 pounds.
That is tough.
Yeah. And then so on day 2, I had 2 keepers, and he had none after he whacked him the day before. He had like 13 pounds the day before. And then he zeroed when I fished against him. So I had like 5.5 or 6 pounds with 2 fish. And then almost the same thing happened on day 3. Cade whacked 16 pounds on his previous match and then came in and almost zeroed. He caught 1 fish for 211. And I had 2 fish for 5 pounds maybe. So it's crazy how, up and down the weights were.
Yeah, you're never really out of it. Was there a minimum weight?
If you had a fish that was over 2 pounds, 2 pounds and over, you could weigh. If no guy caught a 2-pounder after 3 hours, then that last 2 hours you'd go to Dinkfest and you could catch as many little guys as you possibly could to advance to the next day.
Oh, so they call it Dinkfest, huh?
Yeah, so you don't go to a tie round.
We just call that fishing.
Yeah. One of the guys caught like 18 fish for like 47 pounds, but they were all really tiny fish, So he was just throwing like Ned rigs and catching 10 ounces.
Yeah.
To advance to his next round because both of them couldn't catch an actual 2-pound keeper.
Okay.
That's how hard it was up there the week that we were up there.
So was there a reason why the fishing was so tough? Could anybody put anything on that? Was the water dropping, or I don't know anything about that up there?
Yeah, so the water dropped. It was like at 9 feet, and then when we got there, it was like 6.5 feet. So it dropped completely out with hardly any current. They had a either college or high school big tournament up there. It's like 340 boats. Wow. Massive. So you got 340 boats pre-fishing and then beating the crap out of the water for another 2 days, 3 days, how long it was. The week after, they had a BFL Saturday and then a Wisco event on Sunday right before we started, and that's 110 boats in each tournament.
Yeah, that pressure
the pressure killed it. The dropping water, like the water was at 6.5 feet, which is absolutely low. Everybody's like, man, it hasn't been this low in years. So, and I'm telling you, those fish were in like dirt, shallow, gross rice grass. It was weird.
Huh.
It was crazy how shallow those fish would go. You figure they go out to deep water because the water's dropping, so they want to get sucked out, but not those stupid fish. That's horrible. It was the longest 12 days of fishing that I've done in a very long time.
So, all right, we'll get caught back up here a little bit before our comments just run off the screen here. There was one right there.
I'm just kind of cruising through this.
Oh, I'll put one on the screen for you.
Oh, did you?
That's about, yeah.
I will say Boca. That's all I'm going to say. I will not say anything about spool speed. My lawyer said I can't say anything about spool speed.
Plead the fifth, man. Those are ceramic bearings, is that right? The Boca bearings?
Yeah, they're both ceramic bearings. They're both ceramic hybrid bearings. It's ceramic balls with like stainless steel runners or races. They're both solid bearings. If you really want really good bearings, like top of the top, look at ZPIs. They're like $40 a pair.
Okay.
But Bocas, I sell them for like $20 a pair, which is a steal compared to everybody else. So.
And what's your typical turnaround time? Like if somebody sends you a reel to install some bearings or just get some, like cleaning, do you have I guess it depends on how busy you are, but.
Yeah, like right now I've got 3 or 4 or 5 reels in the shop right now, and I'll knock them out tomorrow morning. Installing bearings for me is pretty quick. cleaning reels, I mean, everything's pretty quick for me, but you're looking 48 hours maybe, which is not bad. I mean, there's shops around here that are like 6 weeks. I'm like, that's crazy. I know people can't do without their reels for 6 weeks. You guys are fishing tournaments. I fish tournaments. Like, I know the deal, you know. Even in the wintertime, I'm probably maybe a week out. I mean, I'm doing it 10 hours a day, but
yeah,
it's busy. Wintertime, once November starts, it gets awesome in the shop.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can only imagine.
It's bad. It's 70 hours a week.
Well, not to keep business away from you, but what would you say would be the number one thing to do to keep your reel in good shape?
Man, I mean, honestly, like simple, using a Q-tip just to clean like the worm gear and the outers and just keep them oiled. Less is more with oil and grease, and just really just don't beat the crap out of your reels. I mean, I see a lot of reels that are just, I'm shocked that guys pay this kind of money for these reels, and I'm like, man, what are you doing? Like, I get it, but man, it's like, it's crazy.
There's a lot of boat rash and stuff on them, I guess.
Boat rash and just completely covered in, I don't even know. Some of them just, I've had reels show up that I'll open the box up and it's like a puff of smoke. And I'm like, and you can smell that they smoke like 30 packs of cigarettes for 40 cents. And I'm like, what are you doing to your reels?
Like a genie's going to pop out of the box or something.
I'm like, what are you doing? It's crazy. Like, it's just simple stuff. I mean, I keep reel covers on my stuff. I'm pretty anal about my stuff, but I also see what happens to reels. So,
yeah, I will say that's the one thing I don't really do is reel covers.
The reel covers.
Yeah, I use them. I use them so often.
right.
I mean, it's nothing for me to come home in the middle of the day on my lunch hour and go down to my pond and fish at lunch.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then I'll come home in the evening and do it too. You know, I use them so often.
Well, I've got a rubber mat in the bed of my truck. I fish out of a 16-foot John boat most of the time, so my reels come in the house with me every time. So I've got a little area where I set all my rods and reels up, and then when I go to transport them, I put them in the bed of my truck. You know, it's got a truck cover, got a rubber mat in there, so they don't really get banged up too bad. But if you leave them in a boat, you know, in the rod locker and stuff, they're really rocking and rolling inside that rod locker.
Yeah. I will say, like, one of the biggest things that I see a lot of guys do is they'll take their rods from like the garage or wherever they keep them, and they'll stick them on the deck of their boat, and then they'll drive down to the lake 2 hours away, and they'll go through gravel roads and all this stuff, and they just get covered in road grime. And that's the absolute worst thing you can do to reels. It's horrible. Because you're driving down the road and gravel and dirt and dust and all this stuff's getting in your reels. And it's bad.
I remember there's a local power plant lake. Well, Lake of Egypt. Have you heard of Lake of Egypt?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't fish my dock lake.
Yeah, exactly. 10 feet, sir.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. But we were going there. Me and my buddy Jerry were going there a couple years ago, and it had just rained. And we're coming from Missouri, so we drive past the power plant there. And it's got all that black coal soot stuff that gets all on the roads. And you were talking about leaving your rods out on the deck of the boat. His was in the back of his is in his rod locker. And I was coing when that day. I was in the back of the boat. And so I had like 9 rods strapped down on the front of the deck of the boat. And we get to the lake, man, and all that crap had just jumped over the side of the boat and laid down on this carpet and all my reels and my rods. It was disgusting. I mean, we had to sit there for probably like 10, 15 minutes just wiping down stuff.
Do you treat them like the old Zepco 33s, dip them in the water a few times?
I don't think it would have came off.
Use that old Illinois salt water over there.
Yeah, exactly. So I bet there's some big fish up there right by the hot water discharge. I always wondered, you know, how big the fish get up there because they get no pressure and they can just grow all year long. It's like Florida. Yeah, like a constant like 80, 90, 100 degree water temps.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I've only been there 3 times, maybe 4 times. Cool lake. It's awesome. I mean, there's some giants in that lake.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Grass.
So what's some of your favorite lakes? Where do you like to fish at?
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like this time of year, Wisconsin, it's like in the 70s for 4 months. So I really grew up fishing the river, Merrimack, Mississippi, Kentucky Lake, gone down there for the last 20 years, just because I got family that live down there. So Kentucky's changed over time with all the pressure and the Asian carp and all that kind of stuff, but pretty much grew up in the rivers.
Have you been down there this year to Kentucky Lake?
I have not. We thought about going this weekend for Labor Day, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's pretty tough down there right now. It's went downhill the last couple of years, but the good thing is they're starting to get a pretty good. I think they had a successful spawn like maybe 3 years ago, 3 years ago. So you're starting to get a lot of 14, 15-inch fish in there. I think it's starting to come back slowly, and of course they're getting rid of a lot of those Asian carp. You're starting to see some shad. The shad population is starting to come back. So
I mean, that lake used to be incredible. I mean, 6, 7 years ago, maybe.
yeah,
I mean, my biggest bag out of there is 33 pounds.
wow,
And that was like March, mid-March, late March, fishing Main Lake points. I had a 9.6 largemouth and a 6.9, 6.10 smallmouth within like 10 minutes of each other. I mean, it was incredible. I took a buddy from Chicago and we probably whacked, I don't know, 200 fish off the same point because they just kept funneling in from the ledges and just kept moving up to the points and feeding.
yeah, it's a different lake now.
Oh, it's terrible. Between the flooding that they get every spring, the last 3 or 4 years, no grass, the Asian carp, the pressure. I mean, it's going through its cycle and it's going to get hammered. So
Yeah,
it'll come back. I mean, it'll come back. Those fish didn't disappear. They didn't die. They didn't just vanish. They're still there. They move around so much now with the Asian carp, push them around.
yeah. That's what I've heard. They can't set up on the ledges because it's they're being bullied around by those bigger fish. They get tired of it.
Yeah, and you can't see them now. It's a lot harder with your graphs to see through 2,500 Asian carp to get to the bass that sit on the bottom. So they get lost in that, where your graph before you could just pick out those little snowballs on the bottom of the ledge. It was easy to find them, but now you got those Asian carp creating that cloud above them. It's made it a lot harder.
Yeah, I got a question for you. How did your wake baits are on Tackle Warehouse?
They are.
How did that come about?
So I've worked for Omega for 8 years, developing baits. I'm custom painting for them. They got their stuff in, and then I pretty much just contacted the buyer and said, "Hey, dude, let's get some wake baits in there." Sent a bunch of samples to the buyers there. They went and tested them and used them, and said, "Let's bring in your 4 popular standard colors." And I think I've had them in Tackle Warehouse for 6 years, maybe. They've been awesome. I mean, Tackle Warehouse they're a great company.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man.
I got a lot of baits, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and that bait's different looking too. So it is kind of its own thing.
Yeah, it's a little different than like your typical just plastic bodied wake bait. This is pretty much what it is without the skirt. I still got to put skirts and all that kind of stuff on it, but that's your typical wake bait. I took our skirts and started making a bait, kind of testing to see the correct action to it, buoyancy, all that kind of stuff. I wanted that, that hard like S turn to it, just a little bit different than your standard wake bait.
Yeah. So you got a certain treble hook you like to put on all your hard baits?
Yeah, I use a lot of the VMC. I think they're the VMC inlines. I used to get a VMC like short shank, like hard cone. Those came from Japan. They're just harder to get. I've been trying to get, if you've used any of the Dual Realis stuff, I've been trying to get those hooks here. I've asked them many times. I want 10,000 of each size just to use them and sell them because I think they are some of the best hooks on the market, period. Awesome hooks. They are so nasty, sharp, and strong. But they're just a Japanese VMC. We just can't get them here.
Yeah, I'm typically, I just use the KVD short shanks a lot of times.
KVD makes them, the mustads are great. Gamakatsu is a great hook. Those 3 companies are probably the best.
Yeah, I really like those Gamakatsu. Especially on the jerk baits, the little like size 6s. They're super sticky sharp.
Yeah, if you've used like the Aaron Martin's Nano Finesse ones, those are amazing jerkbait hooks. They're expensive, but man, they are awesome.
Yeah. Well, you don't lose a lot of jerkbait, so that's good for the most part.
No, unless you're like weighing them down and throwing them at Lake of the Ozarks for brush piles.
Right. So I got another question. What part of the reel fails most often? Is there a certain, is there a commonality between all reels that's something you got to watch out for?
Man. Bass Pro reels, let me see if I got one. This is going to be a die with Steve's. Like the Bass Pro reels, your worm gear, your pawl here, there's like a piece of metal that goes on the worm gear and moves your line guide side to side. Those tend to fail a lot on Bass Pro, like Pro qualifiers. And I've seen them a lot on Lew's.
And the Quantums.
Yep,
I've had 3 Quantums that all did the exact same thing with that worm gear.
Yeah, they either stick to the side or they break. The actual piece of metal pawl will just snap off. I don't know why, because there's no real pressure being put on them. It's just literally just moving side to side in the channel.
The only thing I could possibly think of is, we were talking about the witch's hair a while ago and some other stuff. And when you get that real high pollen, when it's sitting on top of the water and it starts to get that buildup on there,
right?
I think it's coming off your line, and that worm gear just keeps, making it go one side or the other and builds up. And when it builds up enough on that side, that worm gear goes to go over and it gets stuck there. And then all of a sudden you shear that little piece of metal off. Yeah. It's just my guess, but
yeah, I mean, I've seen it where it builds up on each side of the worm gear. I had a reel yesterday that was disgusting. I mean, it was built up pretty thick on each side. But again, just taking like a Q-tip and just wiping around quick, a couple minutes, and you're good to go.
Right.
But yeah, that's typically what I see. Really, other than that, reels are pretty solid nowadays. I mean, Lew's makes a good reel. Daiwa, Shimano. I mean, there's other lesser quality reels out there, and of course, what you pay is what you get kind of deal. They're still gonna last, but a lot of guys just don't care. They'll pay $40 for the reel, use it for the season, and throw them away. $25 for a reel. I mean,
I've had those. Mike Marfo got me started on that loose stuff about 12 years ago, and I've got some of the tournament pros, the original ones, and man, they're still just cooking along. I mean, that was a good solid reel. I got my money's worth out of that. And
we picked a good reel. It's funny because everybody thinks they're made in St. Louis or in Springfield.
They're Korean, aren't they? Or
they are.
Yeah.
Like, they're not made here. They're just. It's the big thing, the big display or whatever it is.
Is there an American-made reel?
Not anymore. There used to be a company called US Reel. They were actually made right here in Creve Coeur. They went out of business real quick. And then Ardent used to be made in the US as well. And then, of course, their prices skyrocketed on manufacturing because they were made here. And so they had to go over to China and get their reels made over there. And it suffered. I mean, their quality just went down the tubes. So,
yeah, that's the one I was going to say as far as American manufactured reel was Ardent. I knew they were doing that for a while.
Yep. Yeah, they're doing it for like 3 or 4 years maybe. And then they figured out, like, we got to get our margins up a little higher. So you just do it here.
Yeah, that's just part of it. That's the game. You can't do it. If everybody else is doing it over there and you're trying to do it here and it's a lot more expensive.
I mean, guys think like some of the Shimano and Daiwa stuff's expensive. I'm like, man, just think if that stuff was manufactured in the U.S. I'm like, you're $1,000 reel, $1,200, $1,500 reel.
Right.
For what you can get over, from Japan or Thailand or whatever for $600 or $300, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I might have to get a hold of you later on the Shimano, the Crotto K. I'm cleaning that thing.
Are you?
I don't even know if I've even had that thing open yet, but.
Is it just dirty or is it messed up or?
No, nothing. I just for maintenance wise, I haven't even messed with it yet. So I know it's got the micro module gearing in there, so I'm sure it's set up a little bit different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, I mean the micro gears are just like tiny teeth. That's about it.
That's the only difference.
Yeah, they're just small teeth. Small teeth in the main gear and the pinion gear. But everything else is the same. Crotto K is pretty solid reels.
Gotcha.
So I want to ask you a couple questions about bait painting, like custom bait painting.
Yeah.
What's say you get a blank. What's the first process before, like how do you start to get to from the start to the finish, on a custom bait?
So typically I get a blank in. This one I actually had to assemble. I had to put the lip in. So I had to kind of, I don't know, I had to glue it in. I had to epoxy the lip in to make sure it was straight and centered. This one's already pre-prepped, so I don't have to do much prep work to it before I lay a base coat or do any kind of first painting to it. If you want a ghost, it's ready to go. If you want an opaque color, then I usually do like a primer white or primer black, depending on what colors you're wanting. And then go from there. I just do all base colors. Like if you want shads, it's usually like 4 or 5 colors. If you want bluegills, it's like 8, 10, 12, depending on the bluegill patterns you want. And then I do clear coats, and then assemble.
And you just let it dry for how long?
Yeah, I let them cure. Really longer the better. 3 days is the best. I use a 2-part clear, but you can use, a lot of guys will use 2-ton epoxy. They will use this diamond clear. It's like this hard coating. You can just dip it and hang and dip it and hang.
Okay.
Pretty cool process. A lot of guys are using UV stuff where you can spray it, all that kind of stuff. But mine, I can just brush it on and spin it, and it's good to go.
Here's a question for you, which I couldn't tell you anything about them, but
message me. if you have a budget, that's what I ask guys. If they ask me about this reel, I'm just like, what do you want to spend? Do you want to spend $50? Do you want to spend $100? What I usually tell them is wait an extra week or an extra paycheck and get a reel that's a little bit higher end than what you're looking at currently. And you'll thank me later because it's going to last you a lot longer. You're going to have less issues with casting and breaking and all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of castings out there for $120. And you can buy an awesome Daiwa, you can buy an awesome Shimano, and an awesome Luz for that same price, because you're going to get a much nicer reel.
Mm-hmm. That's a valuable life lesson right there. That applies to just about anything in life. If you've got the money and you're not sure about it, just wait and save up just a little bit more and get something that you're sure about.
Especially with fishing stuff. I mean, you're not saving up like 20 extra grand.
Right?
A couple bucks here and there. And in the long run, you're gonna enjoy fishing as a sport and not have to worry about something failing or something going wrong.
So back to the custom bait painting. Are there certain shapes that are trickier to paint, or is it all pretty much the same thing?
I think the hardest baits to paint are the multi-jointed big swim baits, because with the joints and everything. Trying to keep them separated and not having the joints connect to each other while you're painting or flipping them over and doing all this kind of stuff. I love painting crankbaits and top waters, and of course the wake baits are awesome. But yeah, those swim baits can be a pain.
Yeah, I bet. I never even thought about it.
I mean, they can take a long time because you're using so much more paint.
yeah. Talking like an S-wave or something like that, jointed.
Yeah, S-wave or a bull shad. I paint a lot of the bull shads. What
do you have pants on?
Like this guy right here.
Yeah, that could be a pain in the butt.
Oh gosh. So will you tape that off? Will you tape the sections of it off and just do one section at a time?
I will tape off just the tail, because he's got a like horsehair tail. So I'll tape off the tail, and then everything else I just kind of have to keep it straight. So I've got clamps and everything that connect, and I keep everything straight so I can rotate the entire bait without it flipping around.
Yeah.
Then I'll put the eyes in after I'm done and clear coat it.
Yeah. Isaac on here, what do they know an average time it takes you to paint a lure?
Oh man, a couple minutes maybe. I mean, it's second nature to me.
Yeah.
The easiest part is like if I do an order for Tackle Warehouse and they want 25 frogs, black blues, and all that kind of stuff, I just do 20 black blues, 20 frogs, and I can knock them out pretty quickly. But when I get personal orders of like, hey, I want this custom color, this custom, it's a little more tedious because I have to change colors on my airbrush. So instead of just using straight black, straight blue, I have to go pearls, orange, yellow, green, blue, whatever, clean it out, and then go to completely different colors.
Do you got a couple colors that you really, really like that you could show us? Even if you have to walk away, that's fine. Because you're pretty quick. You grabbed that.
Yeah, I'm right now. So I've got my reels over here, and I've got baits somewhere.
Yeah, I got it. So you got any more questions up there?
I seen Mike. Looks like Mike's giving. Just leave that up there for him. He can read that when he wants. I think he's giving up some of his
some secret spots, little honey hole.
That's
there.
what it looks like.
Who Mike is?
Yeah, he says right under the Alton Bridge or up Piazza Creek or Pierre Marquette to fish the Illinois portion of the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been on the river. I haven't been on the river this year. It's just been a weird year. I sold the boat unexpectedly during COVID, which sucked. I mean, it's great, but who would have thought you would sell a boat during COVID? But hey.
Yeah, no doubt.
Gary, want to know what kind of paint you use?
Oh man, I use a lot of different kinds. I mean, there's like Createx paints and acrylics and wildlife colors and house of color and auto sprays and all. I mean, not all the paints are created the same. There's thinner paints and there's multicolor, chameleon changing color paints, and I mean, there's some paints that are like $300 a quart. So, yeah, it's really nice paint, but it's the only paint that will flip flops and changes color and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
that's nice.
So this is just my signature wake bait color. It's actually got my logo on top. You can kind of see it.
Yeah.
So signature gill color. It's a ghost gill. Bluegill or a shad color. It kind of looks like both. So you can use it, any kind of forage.
Yeah, I like that. That's nice. I like that stuff that's a little bit translucent.
Yeah. You guys got some clear water over there.
Mm-hmm.
We've got clear water here, spring and the fall when it starts cooling down. I've got, this is an opaque, harder to see. It's a shooting shad color, so it's got like coppers and blacks and blues with a little bit of pink belly on it.
Kind of like a copy pattern.
Those are popular colors. I'm doing like crazy requests for like water moccasins and stuff, like crazy snake colors and
snakehead.
Yeah, snakehead colors. I don't know, just weird, coppers and browns and blacks and all that kind of stuff. But my summer gill is a popular color. My frog, black and blues. Because black and blue is like the most popular color. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know we were talking about reels a while ago, and I seen Tackle Junkie brought up on here, and I agree with him quite a bit on this. That Pro Qualifier from Bass Pro,
awesome,
$50 reel. That's probably one of the best reels you're going to buy out there at $50. I mean, they're a good, solid reel. You just don't have many problems with them.
No.
And I know they were even talking about them. Buy one get one free, which I think they run that just about every year. So.
Yeah. You do like the reel trade in, you get like $40 or $50 off, and yeah, it's a great reel. I see a ton of them. I see a ton of Lew's, Shimano, Iowas, but yeah, a lot of Pro Qualifiers.
Yeah, there's a good question for you there from Whitewell.
Man, I don't actually know. I don't watch any. To be honest, I don't watch a lot of fishing YouTube, and I don't watch a lot of airbrushing YouTubes. I do a lot of car YouTubes. It's like, it's not Swim Bait Underground. It's something underground. It's like Airbrush Underground, something like that. There's a big forum on like custom baits, custom pouring jigs, airbrushing, all that kind of stuff to do, like DIY, making your own baits. Lure Parts Online, that's a good supplier for a ton of product.
You can. I got a new business adventure for you. You can make your own little starter kit, and you can just film yourself, painting some baits and put it on a VHS tape, and then you can ship it with the starter kit. Be like, oh, cool.
Super 8 or something.
Yeah. Who's got a VCR to put that?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'll say Morrison's Son Custom Baits said Tackle Underground.
Yeah, Tackle Underground.
You might want to check them out. They're well.
Yeah. Swim Bait Underground and Tackle Underground.
Yeah, Mike put this one up here.
Tell them the secret to get the scale look on your paint jobs. I'm good.
I had a feeling that was something.
A little insider secret.
Yeah.
I was going to ask that, but I knew better.
Yeah.
I knew better.
Cut and design your own stencils. There's a lot of stencils out there that everybody uses. So the look looks exactly the same from guy over here and guy over here. So I will vacuum form. I'll take the bait and do the vacuum form on it, and I'll just start drawing my own kind of stencil on it and cut it out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I mean, the whole thing's cool. I love it. I paint baits and work on reels and fish.
It's the life, man. It's the life. You got any tournaments coming up?
Oh, I don't know if I got one up in Wisconsin again. Not really. I've been taking it easy on tournaments for the last 2 years. I don't know if I just got burnt out. I fished a lot. I mean, I fished a tournament every weekend, and I'd fish like Tuesday nighters, and I did a lot. And I just kind of had to slow down with the business growing and doing stuff for Omega and just traveling. Just kind of took a break from the tournaments just because I couldn't commit to my non-boater or partner to say, hey, do you want to fish Anglers in Action? Do you want to fish these nine tournaments? And I was just like, man, I can't make 3 or 4 of these. So
yeah,
it just kind of got hard.
I feel you, man. I know what you mean. I was mentioning those Wednesday nighters. I was doing those every week for like 8 weeks in a row, and it got to the last couple ones, and I'm just kind of like burnt out. It's fun, but it can get too repetitive.
I would say not 8 weeks in a row. If
Yeah,
it spread out a little bit, wouldn't be so bad.
Well, they would have been, but this like sickness that swept the nation kind of pushed everything back and crunched it down.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, no kidding. So you were talking about Anglers in Action. What do you think about the MPFL? Because Big Al's involved in that, isn't he?
Big Al and the owner of Omega, and then the manager of Cumberland Rods, Paul Benson. I hope it does well. I mean, when I first heard about it, I was kind of shocked. It kind of came out of nowhere when Brad and Michelle texted me in the morning. We're like, hey, we're starting a new professional fishing league. And I was like, what? Why? You've got 5 others that are stout. I mean, Bassmasters, FLW, Bass Pro Tour, MLF. Huge.
Yeah.
But from talking and just seeing what direction they want to go into, it's going to be a little bit different and offer a little bit different perspective on the tournaments. You're going to get a lot of new blood who don't necessarily want to spend much more money than what you're spending to fish the elites or, FLW. It's still a lot. It's 2-year, $30,000 a year. So financially, that's a lot. And people are like, well, why aren't you going to go fish it? I'm like, I don't want to know. I know guys that fish for a living, and I know guys that have lived off multiple credit cards to, finance and fund just to go fishing. And it's crazy to see, guys spending $80,000 a year to make $20,000 a year. And for me, it's just not viable. As a business long-term plan, insurance, all this retirement, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. There's those guys that do it, Brandon and Ish and all these guys, Ike and KVD and G-Man. And there's guys that make a phenomenal living at it on the water and off the water. So I think with this NPFL, they're going to showcase 110 guys. They're going to do a lot of live streaming. So that's cool. You're going to do, I think, 13 cameras. To get, just to get that name out there. It's kind of going to be kind of like our head-to-head where you got all this coverage and you're getting all this exposure, with little reward or little risk, you're not spending crazy amount of money. So,
yep. I'll say,
I hope it, takes off. It starts next March. So, it'll be cool. They just signed on Fat Cat Newton and Luke Duncan. So
yeah, I was just getting ready to bring that up. That's going to be if the fishing's bad, at least the comedy will be good. That's going to be nice.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. They're I've known Fat Cat for 6 or 7 years. He is, outside of his like crazy persona YouTube guy, he is down to earth, blue collar, hardworking guy. So
yeah,
he can actually be pretty calm.
I heard it. I can't remember what show he was on. It was one of the podcasts, one of the bigger ones, but he was a guest on there, and he was just like you said. He was down to earth, and it was a different side of him. And I really appreciated hearing that podcast because when people are on the stage, they're one way, but when you sit down and talk to them, sometimes they're completely different. They're pretty much normal, just like you and me.
Yeah. He was on, I think, Ike Live yesterday, and they did the whole announcement and everything, and it's tough because like he does this big shtick and all this stuff, and man, seeing him out in like the Bassmaster Classic, and he's done some of the weigh-ins for the Real Men Foundation. Guys expect him to be on point all the time, and I'm just like, God, it's gotta be exhausting, man. Like you gotta do like one-liners, and and he's small time compared to like a comedian, like a famous comedian, and all these people expect you to be on point all the time. It's just
he's won 10 Bassmaster Classics though. So
1985.
Yeah,
on the States.
It's like Gerald Swindle. I mean, Gerald Swindle is the same way. People expect him to be witty and fast, and a lot of times he probably just wants to be quiet, especially after having a tough day out on the water. You come in and people are expecting you to be this person, and you probably just want to like go straight to your truck and drive away. You can't,
have some dinner and all that stuff. But yeah, it should be a good time. I mean, he's going to be there for entertainment plus knowledge. I mean, he knows the industry. He's been with Cashin for 8 years or something. So he knows the industry. And so he's got that knowledge. So it'll be a good balance. And Luke Duncan knows his stuff. So.
Yeah, right. I think one of the things I like the most about the MPFL is that they're going to fish 3 days, and everybody gets to fish those 3 days.
Yeah, all 120 anglers or something, 3 days, which is, man, they better fish some big lakes because it's going to get very tight.
Yeah, no kidding.
You better not Boyd Duckett it, and he'll be on you real quick.
No comment.
Just 3 days. I mean, if you cut it down from 125, they usually fish 2 days. They cut it down to 50. Typically, I mean, and then from there you go to top 10 guys. So you're going from 125 to 10 or whatever it is.
Right. So especially on like a ledge lake, you got a full fish in a ledge lake, say a big wicked chicken or something, and then it drops down and then it drops down again. You start getting to be able where you can run around and fish different ledges.
Yeah.
But when the full field's out there, you better pull up, and you're probably gonna have to camp out. You're going to be fishing behind somebody all day long.
Yeah. I mean, it's got its advantages and its disadvantages. I mean, let's be honest. If you're in 125th place on day 2 and you're going into day 3 fishing, like you're kind of just mentally checked out.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be able to scrounge a decent limit and come back and make up some points, but man, that'd be tough. 3 days of just getting your butt kicked. And
yeah, you're hoping to get that last check, Yeah.
I think they're paying 50 guys or something. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing it.
I mean, there's a lot of names that nobody has a clue about. So
right. And they're good fishermen. We just don't know who they are yet. That's what happened with the Bassmasters. Everybody left, all the top name pros, the household names left and went to MLF. And it's just a new solid rotation of sticks that moved in behind them, and you're slowly starting to know the new names, and you realize that you're seeing the same kind of weights on these lakes. So These guys are catching them just like the house brand names were catching them too. So they're no schlubs. I mean,
Say, look at Jacob Wheeler, how quick he.
well, Jacob Wheeler's been.
I mean, he's been good. You didn't hear about him until a couple of years ago, and all of a sudden he just blew up, and he started out fishing everybody.
But there's like Ron Nelson, there's Garrett Paquette, there's just a ton of these younger guys that you don't really know, and all of a sudden they're just in there doing what they're supposed to be doing and tearing
you got like John Cox, who is destroying it this year. But then you have, Jamie Hartman.
Mm-hmm.
Who was that guy? And then the last 2-3 years, that guy's been on fire. So, you've got the new guys coming in and that have always been good. NPFL is going to have regional guys that have been really good, So now they can try and showcase their national talent and see if they can hang.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Somebody had a question about top 3. What are the top 3 colors recommended for your wake baits?
Summergill, Gizzard Shad, and maybe Frog.
Is that the black one?
No, Frog is like looks like a bullfrog. It's like an old school bullfrog color. It's got like the moss green full body with a little bit of yellow underneath with the yellow and black spots.
Okay.
But those are my 3. Like Tackle Warehouse sells my 4 most popular colors. And then you can just go to my website and there's like 20 other colors that are awesome colors. It's just custom colors.
Isaac's asking, did the NPFL sign any of the bigger names? I heard a while back that Pete Galusic was going to be involved. I don't know if they got that pinned down or not.
He was, and I think he pulled out of it.
Okay. Yeah, because he didn't mention it today on Ike Live. I was listening to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it was just constraints with family and time, and who knows. He's so busy with opens and doing all this kind of stuff. But big names, not that I've heard of yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've got 75 guys locked up, and I think they're waiting for the other guys to finalize contracts.
Yeah, and there's going to be a shift. Like you said, the MLF guys, they're on a 3-year contract.
They'll be done next year.
What's that?
I think their contracts are up next year. So
right. So there could be some guys making their way over to this other organization. It's highly possible. Yeah. So then you could see, back to his question, you could see some big names.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, God help him if Jacob Wheeler decides to come in. That guy's going to win everything.
Yeah.
So say Morrison's son wanted to know what you guys thought about the elite fishermen being able to fish the actual MLF.
Oh, like
you mean the FLF, MLF fishing the FLW tour?
Right.
Yeah.
He's giving big
thumbs down.
I mean, those FLW guys paid their entry fees the first of the year, and they were told what's going to happen. And then mid-year, they said, "Oh, we're going to let BPD guys jump in and pay an entry fee, and now they can go fish your tournaments." And it's not cool, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of checks that were lost to people that had been fishing the tour for the whole year. I mean, they didn't lose out on points, which is good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm sure there were some tour guys that pulled up in an area and there was BPT guys sitting on their spots. They would have got that area if those guys weren't in the tournament, most likely. Yeah.
I mean, they upped the pay purse and all that kind of stuff, but man, when you sign a contract and you're mentally focused for 10 tournaments against the same 120 person field, and then you get flipped on saying, "Hey, we're going to add another 30 guys," and these are the 30 guys, and then it's kind of like, what? Like, I don't know. It's just crazy. Yeah. I know there's a lot of FLW guys who are not very happy with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't blame them.
I don't either one bit. It's I mean, I understand the part where, because of this virus thing, these guys needed money and they haven't fished tournaments, but like you said, the tour guys signed up for the schedule at the beginning of the year, and I think they should have just stuck with that. but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens next year. I mean, man, there could be a mass exodus of people. I mean, you look at Brandon and Gerald spent $50,000 to get out of it. I mean, that's a chunk of change to get out of something that it's fishing and you're paying $50,000 to get out of it. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, Mike said Pete has a Bash U schedule out, so he may have conflictions with Bash University.
Yeah, he's so busy with that stuff, running Bash U.
Yeah. Like I said, not 30 scrubs, 30 sticks added.
Yeah.
So we got any more questions for Trey? We've been on here.
Well, I had like 6 of them here, but everybody just went through them like
that's good
with the first 10 minutes there. So pretty much got all them answered. I think the only one I had was.
I was going to ask you if you had a favorite lake, but I already know it's somewhere up north. Just based.
Man, yeah, I don't know. There's so many lakes.
Yeah,
so many lakes that I love. Kentucky Lake, as bad as it is, I absolutely love that lake. You just don't get the crazies out there. You know, like Lake of the Ozarks is insane.
Yeah.
Lake of the Ozarks is a great lake fishing wise, but man, you got a ton of boats out there.
It's very dangerous.
Kentucky Lake South, man, you can go down south and you won't see a pleasure boater for weeks, even during the holidays. It's awesome.
I got a story for you about Lake of the Ozarks. I was with Mike one time, and we were just coming out of one of those big coves, and this big roller, this rogue wave, just from nowhere. You know, it's kind of like you come out and there's no boats anywhere,
right?
And then all of a sudden, this wave just comes upon you, and it's a 5-foot swell or something.
Oh, it's bad.
Yeah, and we got airborne, and you come down and hit the bottom, you hit the bottom of that wave, and you check all your fillings and stuff, and you just kind of try to relax. So that lake it makes me nervous too. It's like you always got to be on your toes, got to be paying attention, because there's so much boat traffic and people zipping and zagging. And
how do you think them guys are going to fish the big bass bash? Are going to feel with them boat races going on?
Well, I heard they. You may know this. They're having that boat race, but I think they got that pushed back or something on one of the days.
They moved. So Friday is like the full day. I think it starts at like noon or something. Saturday they pushed it back to like 3 or 3:15 for the boat race, because it was between like the Dame and the 9-mile marker, which pretty much eliminates Elhana, Point Randall Resort weigh-in, and then going up in the Gravway. So that was supposed to be all no wake. So I think they moved it back. But what people don't realize is, even if it starts at 3 o'clock, you're still going to have 25,000 pleasure boaters getting to that area at noon or whatever. They're going to go hang out and watch this boat race. It's going to be interesting. I hope everybody just slows down, because the lake's been taking too many people the last like 3 or 4 weeks. It's horrible.
Yeah. Isaac had a good question. He said, what do you paint for Omega? He saw a couple of special release for the vibrating jigs. Is that your work?
So I paint the Raptures. I think there's 4 or 5 colors in the Raptures, which is the bladed jig. I also paint the spinnerbaits, the Genesis TIs. And I used to paint the swim bait heads, but we switched the swim bait heads over to our manufacturing facility.
Stan's got a question there too at the bottom.
Yeah, is the Mega Bass Destroy P5 X Bites the real deal?
Which one?
Click that up there.
Oh, the bottom one?
Yep.
What is that?
I don't know.
Is that a rod? I have a feeling it might be a rod.
Destroyer, Mega Bass Destroyer. Yeah, I don't know. The Mega Bass stuff is out of my price range for the most part. But
yeah, man, they make some beautiful baits.
Yeah,
it makes some cool stuff, man. The R&D that goes behind these, like Dual Realis and Mega Bass and all stuff, is pretty phenomenal.
Well, you were talking about that real expensive paint, and as soon as you said that, that's exactly what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the Vision 110s. A lot of the colors on them, they change with the way you rotate.
I still want that.
Yeah, I mean, they can get to like $1,000 a pint. I mean, it's really expensive stuff, and that's why, I mean, between the paint, the R&D, and the patents that they had to create for the Vision 110. That's why it cost $25.
Mm-hmm. They work though. There's something about them.
Awesome baits.
Yeah. Got Steve in here. All right, guys. Unless you got any more questions for Trey, we're gonna let him go. Man, it was really nice to meet you, man. Heard your name. Mike's mentioned you before, and it's good to meet you. And good luck down the road. I hope business stays steady for you.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's COVID's been crazy. It's weird. I figured it'd be slow, but man, boat dealers sold like 70 boats this summer, so it's weird.
I know it's been weird out in the water. We've talked about it on the streams over and over about just the amount of fishermen that
People.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. You know, fishing license sales are through the roof, and you can't even hardly buy any tackle when you're going to like Academy and even Bass Pro Shops and stuff. It's like the shelves are almost cleaned out, a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's outside. When they first told us, like, you must social distance, but you can go outside and go hike or park, whatever. I mean, there's so many people that have never boated or biked or camped or anything.
Well, and then they gave you your fishing license for free for what, 2 months there or 90 days or something?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Gabe and I talked about it before, little local lake here. I mean, it was just absolutely crowded. You couldn't hardly get in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I drove through one of them and just turned right back around and left. I mean, I couldn't even put my boat in.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, I think since March, I've been on the road for about 2 months. So, and I've seen like different parts of the country, and I'm like, God, man, there are so many people.
Yeah.
Out on lakes. We went to St. Clair in May, and we went up north 2 weeks ago up to Minnesota, and just people out at the parks and stuff. It's nuts. It's awesome to see people outside, but go back inside.
Yeah. Well, I always look forward to the hunting season, because people get off the water and into the woods, and that kind of lets the lakes breathe a little bit.
Yeah, lets the lakes breathe. You got the lake to yourself, and then you always start hearing gunshots.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially duck hunters. You got to watch out for those duck hunters. I was fishing cedar 2 years ago.
Wop was terrible about that. Yeah.
I was fishing cedar. It's a 2,000-acre lake over in southern Illinois. I fish over there a lot. 9 lake or 10 horsepower lake. And I was coming around the corner around this point, kind of slowing down because I was getting ready to scan it. It's just a long tapering point. And I saw this whole group of ducks, just sitting right there off that point.
Right.
Cool, man. Look at that. There's some ducks that are just sitting out doing their little duck things. And I was going to grab my handheld camera, and I was going to kind of ease in there and just see how close I could get to them. And then I just got to thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. The name of that point is called Duck Blind Point. And it's called Duck Blind Point for a reason, because those are decoys. And I'm easing, idling in on somebody that's sitting up in the woods with 2 guns, So
you're going to go film.
Yeah, I just cranked down and got the hell out of there.
Oh, I've had lead rain on me when we're up north. It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, keeps you on your toes. I got a video where guys were shooting. I was at Lake of the Ozarks jerkbait fishing. Me and Mike were down there for I can't remember what tournament it was. Actually, that was this year.
I was when you stayed at Greg's house.
Yeah, we stayed at Greg's house, and there were some guys just popping off rounds right on the bank from me. And that first round's the one that gets you. You don't even go up there. You're focusing. You're twitch, counting to 6, twitch, counting to second. To count to 6, and then all of a sudden, pow, 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 pow. Makes you hit the deck. So
yeah, it'll wake you up.
Fun times. So all right, man. We will talk to you later, Trey. Appreciate you. Have a good evening.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one, guys.
All right, man.
See you, man.
We did that Midwestern. We always do that Midwestern goodbye. You ever notice that? It's like you say goodbye, and then you talk a little bit more, and then you say goodbye, and then you talk a little bit more. There really is something to that. It's funny. I mean, you try to get away from the stereotype, but it's just the way it is.
Roll with the punches.
City folks, man, they're like, all right, I'm out, and they're gone. Yeah. That's it. That's all you get. It's over. But we get the nice, like 15-minute outro. It's kind of nice.
Just drags on.
So yeah. Well, man, that was cool, man. A lot of knowledge.
Yeah. Stephanie, just to answer your question, I know Bass Guy down here kind of answered you too. I don't know if you seen my comment a while ago, but I have everything linked down in the description of this video. It has Trey's Instagram, his Facebook page, his website, everything in there. So you can go look up any of his baits that'll take you right to it and everything.
I see Gary up there. Go Blues. We didn't get into the hockey, Gary.
Yeah.
We were gonna get into hockey, just didn't work. Yeah, Johnson Creek was a nightmare, Billy. I went there a couple times, and you couldn't even find a parking place. I mean, people were parked up in the grass. You know, obviously everything on the blacktop was covered up. It was something else.
What were you talking about?
At Kincaid,
Yeah.
you know, when they had the other end closed, the marina. Yeah, there was 70, 80, 90 boats in that little area.
Yep. So
Yeah, that is because we don't want to stop talking fishing. That's right, Mike. That's right.
it happens.
Got anything else on there we need to address, or?
I don't know. You got anything major coming up or anything going on big?
Well, we just got that Toyota Owners Tournament. Well, you know what? Let's talk about some of the guests that we got coming up. I got a couple things lined up. We're gonna have next week. We're not gonna be on here because it's Labor Day,
Right.
so we're gonna take that week off. And then after that, we've got Hella Bass, who is a YouTuber from up north, from Minnesota area, and he just finished 4th in the Bass Nation tournament. So shout out to Hella Bass, man. That's pretty impressive. But we're gonna have him on there. He does a live stream as well, and we're just gonna talk about, you know, fishing up north and try to compare what happens in the fall up north versus what happens down here in the central part of the United States.
So they should be hitting it pretty dang close here.
Yeah. He's probably, yeah.
He's probably, I would say he should be in the first.
They're
He's probably first couple weeks.
yeah, because it gets colder a lot sooner up there. So they're probably on that fall bite right now up there. Yeah, but we'll have him on there, on here. And then we're also going to have a Cumberland Pro giveaway. Isaac was nice enough to send us some goodies. So we're going to be doing that sometime in the next month. And we'll announce that on both of our channels. We'll do it on the live stream. We'll probably do something to where we come up with maybe a question or something, I'm thinking.
Yeah, do something.
All right. Yeah, we'll think of a way to do it. But it's going to be nice. You guys are definitely going to want to check that out. We're going to have Bass Geek on here coming up pretty soon. I'm going to try to get Christian from YOLO Tech on here. And my man Mike's going to get back on here soon. We're going to try to keep him on a monthly rotation because he's just a big ball of fun. Got lots of stories, and we just barely scratch the surface on him. He's got all kinds of little trails and avenues that he can tell you about. So
Going to work on Marcus for you guys.
Yeah, man,
tomorrow.
That would be sweet, man.
Yep.
That would be sweet.
Definitely got to keep it rolling. So going into the winter months, having, not just okay guests, but having good guests like yourself, Mike, that helps out a lot. Having Trey on here, Hella Bass, that's going to be pretty interesting. So have a lot to talk about, some good topics to go over. So
yeah, just trying to get some good guests from different parts of the country, different parts of the industry, just kind of mix it up. I see.
Sean said he loves tackle giveaways.
Yeah.
Okay, You're out already.
They're fun. You get to check out just different stuff.
Yeah.
You might find your favorite jig. I think you guys will find a favorite jig once you try these out. They're pretty nice. I caught a couple of nice ones on them this weekend. So.
Yeah. I know one thing I want to talk about too. This December, before we hit January, I want to hit that 1,000 mark on the subscribers. So you guys keep sharing our stuff. We greatly appreciate that. It helps out a lot. So
you see this? It's only one spinnerbait for the giveaway. Gabe kept the rest.
Oh man.
No, I'm gonna give it away. We're gonna have a nice little giveaway. DJ, can you delete that comment?
Do what now?
Can you delete DJ Hall's comment there? We got through the whole show.
I can't see it.
We got through the whole show. You know what?
Did the pink T-shirt video drop?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I haven't seen it.
We've made it through 2 shows without that coming up, and here he is right at the very end.
Well, if you remember, Denny was taking a break on us. He was pretty busy with home life. So
right.
I'm glad to have him back though.
Yeah, no kidding. Fishing with Fitz is doing a giveaway, so go over there and check that out.
Yep.
Gary's got some Stanley jigs. Yeah, Sean. I hear you, Sean. Blah, 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 blah. So, all right. I guess that's it. As far as you asked what I got coming up, the Toyota tournament, Toyota Owners Tournament, me and Mike Marfell are going down there. I think it's the second week in September. 13th, 12th, 13th, something like that. We're going down there.
Yeah, because the 12th I've got a tournament at Clear. So
Okay, so we'll be doing that, and then the following weekend we'll be doing the super tournament, the BFL super tournament on Lake of the Ozarks. Mike's fishing as a boater, and I'll be fishing as a co-angler in that. Not together, but we linked up, so we're guaranteed a spot in that tournament. Of course, we got to pay for that, Mike. I haven't paid for it yet, but
I thought Mike said he was paying for everything.
oh yeah, that's right. We'll talk about that on the road trip down there. We'll have
there you
plenty of
go.
time to hash that out. So you got a tournament coming up too?
Yeah. So I got a tournament down at Clearwater the 12th. That's actually my last tournament of the year. Then we'll have our classic. So hopefully I do it right there so I can move on to the classic, which will be down at Lake of the Ozarks October 13th or 14th, something like that. I don't remember what dates are. October something. It's the middle. It's like a week or two after the Big Bass Bash.
So that's going to be
That'll be
probably a topwater thing down there. Maybe.
Yeah, it'd be tough conditions.
Tough
I'm
conditions.
sure. You know, them getting beat up the week before, plus the boat races and everything else. So I'm sure the lake's going to be on edge. But
yeah, guys, smash that thumbs up on both channels wherever you're coming from.
Fishing with Fitz, the pink shirt deal. If you want to know about that, go back either one of our channels. We have a little fishing tournament we did. So just go check it out. It's probably a month and a half ago.
Yeah, it's a one-on-one tournament. We got 2 episodes piece on there. You can see how that all went down.
Yeah, it's well worth watching.
Bass Guy says he's going to be on Kincaid in 3 weeks. Yeah, I went over there yesterday for a little while and caught a few fish. It was kind of tough, but those fish are still out deep from what I could see.
Yeah, Bass Guy, and I didn't forget about you. Remind me, send me another message. I'll show you them spots on the map.
So, all right. I guess that's it.
All righty.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yep.
And
we'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. We'll see you.
All right.
Peace.
See ya.